Okay. Okay. Welcome everyone. So tonight we have three panelists. We have Miss Cheen, who is an international school teacher. We have Professor Lau. She is the head of research for Swinburne University, right? And then we have James, Mr. James Ho. He's a director on the administrative side of the university, the same university. So welcome to our panelists, and also welcome to the young people. So before we get started, if any one of you have any questions, you can unmute and just ask your question, or you could type it in your chat, and then we would ask the panelists to respond. Okay. So so for starters, I think we will look into the background. Your schooling, your tertiary level. So maybe we can start with Chini. If you could give us a walk us through briefly, of your where did you do your school, your schooling, and then what did you study for your undergraduate, and did you do anything further than that? Yeah.
Sure, Reena, may I share my screen?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically, these are all the degrees that I've gone through for my study years. So my undergraduates I study in University Tunku Abdul Rahman. This is a private university. I did psychology, and then because I want to venture into teaching, so I did this PGDE, postgraduate diploma in education. If you really want to be a teacher, I think you need to go through this if your undergraduate is not Bachelor of Education. So in order to go to education, I did this postgrad diploma in education, and I further my master degree in educational psychology, which is aligned with my undergraduates.
I see. Okay. And your secondary schooling, where did you do it?
I graduated from Chonghua Independent High School in KL, Jalan Ipoh. It's a independent school.
Right.
It's
Right.
a Chinese independence high school, Zhonghua Duzhong. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're a KL girl, lah, huh?
Yes, I'm a KL girl, married to
Okay.
Penang.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Achidi. Now I'll move on to Theng. Could you give us, your tertiary background and all?
So hello everyone. I was born in Penang, okay, Georgetown, and I studied in Chongling High School for 5 years, and then followed by a BM High School, the school of our former Prime Minister for my Form 6. And after that, I got the bachelor degree in Sarawak University, Malaysia, Sarawak, and that's where I actually also got my full scholarship to study from my master by research to my PhD in IT and computer science.
Okay, so that means after your undergraduate, you continued your education with your masters and PhD lah. So there was no break in your studies.
Um, I graduated in 1998 after I completed my first degree, and towards the end of the year, I do my master by research for 1.5 years. So, and after that, I stopped for a year to work, and I continue my PhD right after that.
Okay, so and your PhD and your masters, you pursued it at which university?
It's the same University of University Malaysia Sarawak.
Oh, I see. So you were all the while in Sarawak in the
Yeah,
same
but I
university.
switched field. Yeah, I switched field. Initially, my bachelor degree is in development planning and management. Okay, so after that, I switched to a master by research. Okay, in IT, and then PhD by IT and computer science.
Okay, so the switch happened because.
It's an amazing journey because I wanted a scholarship. I wanted to become a lecturer, and that was the only opportunity available. Even though I was not qualified, but by God's grace, I got the full scholarship. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
there's a switch of field. Yeah,
I see.
so
I
I
see.
went through quite some hurdles, and a lot of people helped me. So in the end, I got it. Yeah.
Right. So actually, so you actually wanted to become a lecturer, but you didn't choose your field of study yet.
I only got to know Christ when I was in my first year in Sarawak. Okay,
Ah,
so from there I decided to become a lecturer. So that's
right.
why my first point and my middle point deviated a bit.
I see. I see. Okay, we'll come back to that. So hold that thought. But I would like to move on to James to get your background.
Sure. I'm Kuching boy, if I'm
Yeah.
still allowed to call myself boy. So actually, I went through my high school with SMK in Kuching, SMK Batu Lintang, if you happen to know it, right up to Form 5. I completed my SPM there.
Okay.
Then I actually didn't continue with the Form 6. So instead, in fact, I went to a local college called Informatics at that stage to complete my diploma in computing, or equivalent called diploma in IT.
Okay.
Well, because at this stage, I was quite into computing as a hobby. I thought I wanted that as a career. So I guess sometimes things doesn't exactly work out that way. I completed the diploma itself actually quite successfully, but at that stage I decided that was not quite what I wanted as a job for the rest of my life. In fact, I guess, but of course, through that diploma journey, the study journey, I probably get to have a better understanding of what I wanted to do. In fact, so in fact, I switched to marketing. Interestingly, I went on at the college to actually pursue a professional qualification in marketing. It was known as Chartered Institute of Marketing. In fact, from the UK at that stage, of course, I completed that through the college in Cheen itself. From there, I went into my first job, a marketing job in teaching. And a couple of years after that, I decided to pursue my study again, in fact, on the part-time basis. So again, I went on to another college here to pursue my Master of Business Administration from Harold University, UK. And I actually did that while I was actually working at the same time. So I got that Master of MBA actually back in well, that was more than 20 years ago. It was 1999 when I actually graduated from that MBA. So that tells you a bit of my age as well. So briefly, that was my educational journey.
Okay. So that means from after your Form 5, you did your diploma, right? Because computing was your interest, but then as you realize that's not the job that you want to do, right? Yeah. And then after that, you moved on. So that means you worked. How long did you work before you started to pursue your MBA?
It was a interval of roughly 2 years. In
Right.
preparation of this session, I was looking down memory lane a bit. It was roughly 2 years.
Right. So the switch into to do your MBA was that something that guided you towards that, or I mean, was a working experience that you thought that you want to pursue this, or was there some other motivation?
Well, yes, I think the having couple of years of working experience definitely helped me understand a bit more. Why?
Where the others?
I guess at that stage, I guess I also came to the realization that the academic qualification does play a role if I want to progress further in my career at that stage. I guess it's all a combination of all that.
All the factors. Okay. Okay. Thanks, James. Um, Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the next, the next chapter of, of this discussion. I'll come back to Chini now. So Chini, maybe you can tell us a bit of, I mean, I know your journey, but how, where are you right now, and what are you doing, and how you got there?
Sure. I think just now the slide that I share is a bit just a glimpse of it. I think I'll put it up longer right now.
Yes,
Everything is just in one slide.
right.
So like my right after my graduation, uh, on when after graduation, if you look at the journey that I graduated from University Tunku Abdul Rahman, right after my graduation, my first job is in Fairview International School. So
Mm-hmm.
this is my first opportunity to work in an international school. Then later on, I was very inspired by the vision and mission of Teach for Malaysia program, which is to help, which is all children in Malaysia will have the opportunity to attain quality education. So that's that attract me to join Teach for Malaysia to serve in a high need community, which means that I serve in a high need school in a low social economic background. So my students are those who very poor, from very poor family, very high risk family, like um, maybe their father are their father is prisoner, or the mother left the household. So these are the students that I have. So I have been it's a very empowering experience that to see this happen in this does happen in our community. Like living in Penang, we never thought of this high need community happens. But when you go further, a bit further, it's just not far, 40 minutes away. I serve in Penaga, which is on the mainland, Seberang Perai Utara, and that's a place that I see this high need community, and I served there for 5 years through Teach for Malaysia. So the first 2 years was a leadership program. Teach for Malaysia trained me to serve in high need community. After this 2 years program, I have a choice to leave the school to further my other career, or I have a choice to stay in the school. So I choose to stay on with the school for 3 years as a civil servant. I was teaching in the government school for 3 years. The school is called SMK Permatang Tot Labu. So after 5 years serving in the community, I realized that I want to further. I want to do more than just teaching in school. Therefore, I joined Evolution Enterprise, which is a consulting firm to working with the district officers. Working with district office, we call PPD, pejabat pejabat pendidikan daerah. So I work with the district officers. I went to 4 schools to help to not to help. I mean to talk to the teachers, talk to the principals, to support them in various areas in terms of teaching and learning. After 1.5 years, and I realized that I am still lacking of a lot of a lot of experience in supporting the local teachers. Hence I explore international opportunities. I want to learn more about different strategies, different approach in teaching and learning. So like I send my resume to different parts of the world, and eventually I land on this school, Silverfern International School, which is an international school that using this international baccalaureate curriculum is very widely used right now. Like in Malaysia, we have quite a few schools
Yeah.
which are IB schools. So like I've been here for this is my third year serving serving Silverfern. Yeah, and we work together, and this year we attained IB authorization. So we are right now officially a IB World School under International Baccalaureate.
Okay. So in your present school, in Silverfern, so what is your role? I mean, what is your teaching position?
I am a PYP homeroom teacher, so I teach students ranging from year three. I teach 2 classes. It's a combined class, year 3 and 4, 8 and 9 years old student. And also I am a numeracy leader, which means that I oversee the math curriculum of the whole school. So like I will help each level in teach in and discussion with the teacher, collaborate with teachers in teaching math in school.
I see. So you're overseeing the method of teaching for the different levels, and you help, you
Yes.
assist the teachers in creating a something that they can, a, a method to teach their children, lah, some activities and
Yeah,
things like that.
yes, yeah.
Okay. So, okay, I'll come back to you, Chini. I'll move on to Theng. Theng, how about you? You know, what is your current position, and what do you do in your work, in your line of work?
Okay. Well, I started as just a recall. I started as a tuition teacher.
Right.
Okay, when I first graduated, when I couldn't find a way to the the opening, so that's why I while waiting, because I'm a Penangite, and then if I stay in Sarawak, stay in Kuching, I can't stay on unless I hold a student permit or I hold a work permit. So by God's grace, I actually got a tuition job. It's a full time for 2 years, so I managed to get the work permit to stay on. And after that, I got the scholarship, so I went into the university back again to do my master by research. So with this scholarship, I have to teach as well. So I was called a research fellow. So research fellow, actually, on top of doing what you're supposed to do to complete your degree, you actually have to assist as well in your supervisors, or the person who supervised my research. I have to help him or her to do the teaching, conduct tutorial in the university. So after that, I graduated, and I went to the place where James studied. Okay, I was employed as a full-time lecturer for a year in Informatics Institute Kuching. I'm not sure if Penang still have informatics. Informatics was quite popular at that time, throughout Malaysia, but then I'm not sure about it now.
Yeah.
So after that, I teach as a full-time lecturer for a year, and I think in that year as well, I got married, and after that, I applied for scholarship again. I returned to the university to do my PhD again, and I did another 3-4 years of research fellow job. It's quite similar to the previous one, under the same supervisor, okay, but a different level of topic. So after that, after I left the university, I actually joined Swinburne. Okay, I joined Swinburne in 2005. So it's about 17 years now. Yeah, 16 years plus 17 years. So I started with a master degree, because at that time I haven't completed. I was waiting for the to pass my PhD. I finished it and I'm waiting. So I was employed as a lecturer. So I started a lecturer in 2005, and slowly I moved on to become a senior lecturer somewhere 5 years later, and another 5 years later, I moved on to become the associate professor. And after that, another 5 years later, I became the director of School of Research. And recently, last year, I was promoted to professor. So that's how I spent my 16 years with my career. And during this journey, I got married, and I have 2 children, and my daughter is sitting for SPM this month. So my son is still in Form 4, so that's how I journey through. So daily work, okay. Some may think that if you become a lecturer, your job is only teaching. No, actually we have 3 core areas. Okay, 3 core areas. First is, of course, our priority is to teach, teaching and learning. Okay, and the second part is to do service. Okay, this service could be the internal university service. For example, now I'm the director, but my core duty is still academia. I'm supposed to teach. So my second core is director of School of Research. And you can also have services outside of the university. For example, you work with others. For example, I work with some community partners. I work with some international partners. For myself, I'm the IEEE US STEM ambassador, STEM education, STEM, STEM ambassador. And I also volunteer in humanitarian technology. So that's why you can see the life of academia in the university is very interesting. You're not just teaching inside the 4 walls, but you are outside as well. And you have all the capacity, because your university will support you, giving you all the reputation that you need, financial support, and also the moral support, technical support, so that you can excel, You know, you can improve as a lecturer, not just staying at the place, just do your teaching for many years. So you excel in that. Another third core, okay, from teaching to service, the third core is research. Okay, as a university, we can't run away from doing research. No research means we're not growing, right? Okay, so to do research, mainly is not just Googling or surfing internet. So we have to actually come out with looking for funding to do our research, finding money. Okay, so we have to write a lot of proposals to attract outsiders to look into our research and give us some funding. Okay, another one is we have to publish our outcome. So not just publish as a newspaper article, we have to publish in the academic publications, publish as a book, as a journal paper, as a conference paper, or as a book chapter, and so on. There are many ways of publishing. Okay, so this is our life in three main areas. And along the way, with your excellent service in teaching, service, and also research, you will go slowly up the ladder. Okay, I mean that's part of my life.
Yeah, but it's so interesting, and there's a hierarchy. So as you moved on from one stage to another stage, you get promoted in your service, right? Academia. Yeah.
Professor Lau has already inspired me.
Next, do PhD.
And I believe Chee will do it once she sets her mind to
she's
it.
one step away.
Yeah. So Theng, so what's your day like? I mean, how many hours are you at the university? How do you divide your working life and your personal, your family?
Yeah. So I think our office hour, my office hour and James is the same. We work like, let's say 8 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30 around that. Faculty member works from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock because our lab has to be open earlier. So it is a normal working hour. But as an academic staff, we do have flexibility. Like we can come in earlier and leave earlier. This is a flexibility because most of the time our research work may require us to go out or may require us to go somewhere, you see. So that's why we don't really fix and sit in the office from 8 to 5, but we follow the normal. If you go out, you work outside, it's still considered as working. So whenever we meet let's say our funder, our project funder, or maybe our community partners, so we calculate that. Okay, so for me, because I have an administrative role, so it's half. So half of my time is actually do managerial work, because our university has a school of research. School of research is not really teaching you how to do research. Okay, it's actually managing, do all the management of all the research within the university. So I work with a lot of researchers, talk to them, listen to them, and then solve their problem. And then do a lot of external reporting, internal reporting, because research you need to report to government, you have to report to our Melbourne campus, and we have to report to our communities within the university. Right. And then do a lot of, we also need to have accreditation. For example, Malaysia require us to do research reporting. It's called Malaysia Research Assessment System. So we also have to do that. It's part of our work. So, and it's really interesting, you see, because for university, we have like what you see, you have different levels. So as my role in the administration of research, I see people from very young, very junior, graduated from master, start doing research, or graduated from PhD, start to do research, and then you work with them, you see them grow. And because research is one of the components that we assess when you get promotion. Right. So that's why they pay a lot of attention on that, and we also try our best to help them from the admin side. Yeah. So this is my job in terms of administration. And then, of course, I have to teach. But because my work is a bit heavy loaded in terms of the service side, so that's why I was not teaching for the last 1 year. Okay, I was not teaching because a lot of too much reporting. But my original position is still I had to teach. Yeah, I had to teach. So about, let's say, for me, it's about 50%, 30%, 20%. So I'm supposed to do about 20% of teaching, 30% of research, and 50% of admin work. So meaning to say that's how I spend my 40 hours in a week. Yeah.
Right. So okay, just for your research part, like is there a requirement that you need to publish a certain number of papers a year to sort of maintain your, I don't know, your accreditation or your status?
Yes, we do have a collective figure to meet. But as I say, it's collective, means it's the whole university's effort. Some people who are good at writing, they contribute a lot in terms of writing. Some are good at supervising, because another job of research is supervising the master by research and PhD student. So some good at doing that, then they do this, and some are good at finding money from the research funding, so they will do that. So as a collective, I mean, in a big pool of this achievement, then we present to the Malaysia Research Assessment System and also Australia Research Assessment System for the whole university. Personally, yes, we do have research performance appraiser. Okay. Yeah. So we have band 1, band 2, band 3, 4 until 5. So to meet expectation, you have to reach band 3. Okay, but don't worry, there are many components that help you to collect marks and then make you meet band 1, band 2, band 3, and 5. Of course, 3 is at least satisfactory. If you are getting 1 or 2, then you'll be in trouble. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Bee-Ting. So now we'll move to James. I know your role is slightly different, but you're going to give a very good perspective. We'll balance out what Chee and Bee-Ting are saying. So, what is your current position and what do you do in your work?
I'm currently the director. Well, the title is Director of Business Development and Liaison. In case you haven't picked up, I work at the same university with Theng. She gave a very good overview from an academic and researcher's perspective. Well, I've been working with the university for about 20 years now. And every time I tell people that I work for a university, the next question is almost always certainly, what subject do you teach?
Yeah.
Not in my case. I don't teach. I guess they are just to share with our audience here. In fact, within the institution like ours, other than the teaching and research job that Bee-Ting was highlighting earlier, there's a whole range of administrative jobs like the one that I'm holding at the moment. To some extent, the university and institution and school in sometimes operate. So at least part of the institution operate like a company. And in my current role, over the years I have taken on a number of different roles with the university. The current one that I'm doing pretty much focuses on establishing the collaboration partnership for the university. We deal with a range of external engagement, corporate communication, alumni engagement type of initiatives as well. So it's a whole range of external engagement if you like. I think Bee-Ting just now gave a good description of some of the external aspects of the job that she's doing. In my job, it's definitely an external oriented one. Perhaps I can give you a couple of examples.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
You see, one of the main parties, a main external party that we're engaging are in fact the companies who are offering our student internship lessons, who are employing our graduate as their employees, following their graduation and all that. So one of my jobs is actually to maintain and effective engagement with those organizations. We also facilitate the engagement obviously between our student, alumni, and those organizations. Another quick example that I can give you is we also engage student funders, be it at the organizational or at the individual level, who are in the position, in fact, to provide students with funding to actually help students who can't otherwise afford university fee. I guess we connect in a way, we connect with certain students who want to come into our students but do not have the financial need, and we connect those students with actually funders who are in the position to help them in those situations. Just couple of example. Hopefully that provide a bit of an explanation of what I'm doing.
So, so, so when you say about you're matching students with, to help them with their funding, that means, is it like a scholarship situation you're talking about?
Yes, it is both scholarships as well as financial aid.
Okay, right. Okay. So, so I know Theng does not explain the hours that your hours are about the same. But is there anything different about your personally for your particular position in the hours that you spend?
Well, I guess we are all subject to similar work hours. But I guess just at BTEC, because of the nature of work that I do, in fact, during the non-COVID time, I've been out of the campus at least half of the time because we do a lot more traveling, as you can imagine, with our external engagement work and things like that. But by and large, we are expected to observe about 40 hours a week. Of course, with the COVID situation now, it can be a combination of on-campus as well as remote hours.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thanks, James. Okay. So now, okay, I'll come back to Chini now. Okay. So, so regarding your work, you say you're a literacy leader as well as PYP homeroom teacher. So, about your when you're teaching the kids, what is it do you like about your job? Is there or is there anything that you find it uh, no choice, but you have to do it? Is there any task that you find it's tough, but you still have to go ahead and do it?
Allow me to correct. I'm a numeracy leader,
Oh, sorry, numeracy.
not not literacy. Yeah. What I like about my job is that I see my children grow. I call them my children. I don't have my own. They are my kids.
Yeah.
So I see my children grow, and I see that the most important thing, I see them enjoy learning. So the happy moment that I have for my job. So as for what I don't like it, but I must do, which is right now online learning. I have to grade their work online. That takes a lot of time. Like to mark online is really hard. It's not like not like writing comments only, because children don't understand comments like written comments. We have to use drawing tool to draw on their workbook and whatnot. So like doing online teaching is really hard.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's tough. I know my kids also had a hard time with online learning. Um, so So what about, I believe as a teacher you would have to do your preparation and everything. How do you handle that part? I mean, how much of time does it take for you to teach one class, to prep and then to teach? Is it a lot of preparation you need to do?
It comes with experience. I think the same goes to Professor Lau too. It comes with experience. And when I was first year teacher, I took a lot of time to do planning. Like one lesson will take me one whole night to plan. As time goes by, as I got more familiar with the lesson planning and got more training in terms of how to plan a lesson, engaging students, then the time will get lesser and lesser. Yeah, right now it takes me around maybe because on the like what we do, like what the others as well, like 40 hours per week. Same goes. I go to school at 7:30 and I go back. I finish my work at 4:30. So like usually I have 5 to 6 classes of 45 minutes to teach each day, and then 1 hour of a lunchtime, and the rest of the day are my planning time, including having meetings with other teachers, my planning my own lessons and grading. I'm not grading. I mean like marking, checking my students' work.
Yeah. So when you were starting off in your teaching, I mean, did you have like were there other teachers who guided you and helped you with your planning, your lesson planning and things like give you ideas for activities and all?
Yes. So like we have direct reports. So the direct report will guide us through. They are more experienced teacher to guide us through how are we going to teach the lesson and approach the lesson. But we have to take our own initiative to learn the material and to teach because we cannot go to our direct report every single time we have a lesson. So we usually present, okay, this is a topic we're going to teach. We have a general discussion. Then each lesson, we will break down the lesson like 45 minutes, what I'm going to teach, what I want to achieve, what I want my students to achieve in these 45 minutes. So I will need to plan the lesson accordingly. Too much content will be hard. Too little content will be hard as well. So like that takes a lot of flexibility. There are time also I have to change and switch my lesson altogether. Like if I see my students are not in mood, so I have to have some brain break, or maybe I have to just dump the whole lesson off and then
Yeah.
just to have some time to play with them or storytelling or that kind of thing. So it does take a lot of emotional stamina to work with children. So you have to really detect their emotion.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Jenny. I want to move on to Teng. Um, when you did your field of study, you chose ICT. Did you enjoy the process of learning?
Okay, so when I studied my first degree, I actually had I think a few units, I would call it a few subjects on IT. I thought I loved them very much, you see. So that's why I say when there's no opening for me in planning and management, okay, I move on to IT when there is one. So I apply and so it. So, but when I really do a master by research, okay, with no classes to attend, fully on your own, and with your supervisor telling you what topic you have to fix, and then what problems you have to solve alone. In the first 6 months I cried a lot. Okay, I almost wanted to give up my degree. And I say, how come when I learned in undergraduate it was so fun, you see, like when I joined as a master by research, it's so tough, you see. I can't fix the problem that my supervisor asked me to. Okay, but again, as I said, amazingly, I had a few wonderful class, how to say, research mates. They don't attend classes as well. So we are all research mates. Yeah. So they help a lot. And yeah, that's how I went through. And after that, I like it. So that's why if you see my publication, I'm still doing on deep learning, artificial intelligence, and these are things that I'm still doing. Okay, till now, after so many years. But the first 6 months was tough for me when I did a full research degree in ICT. Yes.
So when you chose to do your PhD, it was a natural thing for you to go ahead
Yes.
and choose it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So could you just share? I just heard you say your research is in artificial intelligence. Could you share a little bit of what is your interest or your passion that you have?
Okay. So nowadays everybody talk about AI in everywhere. So whether it's a
Yeah.
deep AI or it's a surface AI. Okay. But most of us are end user. When I do research, we spend a lot of time on analyzing the data, analyzing the images, analyzing the videos, with artificial intelligence. So we write the code, we write the algorithms, and of course there are a lot of ready-made tools as well that we can use to analyze. So for instance, I do a movement detection, I do surveillance system, and I do audio event, meaning to say that, for example, one of my students is trying to use AI to interpret the emotion from the speech. So we don't see the face, but we only detect the speech as in signals, the frequencies, and from there we actually detect the emotion of that person. So this is useful, for instance, where we rely on a lot of virtual meetings. Sometimes no face, we only have sound. Okay, so this is something useful. And I also do the, as I say, motion detection. So that is basically to help those people with disabilities, and also for smart city purpose, where we have to, nowadays, again, surveillance cameras is everywhere. So all these signals are useless unless we can interpret. But if we use brute force to interpret, it means nothing. You just see, okay, there is a person, there is one moving, there's one walking. Okay, so we want to put in the AI to mine the pattern to actually understand, this particular occlusion means someone has been hidden, or someone has been running away, and so on. So surveillance systems, smart city system, this is what I have some PhD and master's student doing. So deep learning is the trend now, deep learning. So from the surface AI, now we are looking at the deep learning, where you actually tell the, you let the system look at the data and give them the open-ended algorithms to find the patterns, for them to explore. It's no longer fixed rules. Yeah, this is what, just a little bit of what I'm part of what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's so exciting. So I take it that this is something that you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
So what is something that maybe you don't enjoy so much in your line of work, in all your service, and your, is there anything, or
Reena, if you ask me this question, let's say when I was 20s, I can tell you a lot of things that I don't like. As I age, I think a lot of things I find it like it's become part of life, and I don't specifically dislike it. I just find ways to live with them. So that's why I can't recall anything that specifically that I hate the most. But when I was 20 years old, you asked me, I think I have a lot. Yeah, this one I don't like, that one I don't like. Yeah.
yeah, I think that goes for all of us, right? As we age, we sort of mellow down, and then we see the whole big picture, and
Yes,
you find a
yes.
solution for whatever situation that arises, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So
Allow me to add.
Yes.
I think listening to Professor Lau's description about AI, I think those technology are very useful in classroom as well. I read before article that they are AI that detect students learning, the temperature, and also like the eye movement will be able to detect whether students are learning or paying attention in the classroom as well. Some of the technology I heard before. Yeah.
That'll be very helpful to you, right? To know whether your students are actually paying attention to you. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Biteng. So I move on to James now. So what about you, James? What is it that you enjoy about your job, and or is there anything that you have to endure?
All right. Thanks, Reena. I guess the privilege of working with a university is such that the work that we do does directly or indirectly has an impact on people's life. Of course, in fact, the one moment that I enjoy each year is to attend the graduation ceremony. In fact, sometimes you see the student who actually went through the door 4 or 5 years ago now is, parchment proudly on the stage. And of course, having worked with the university for that many years, I'll see their progress post-graduation as well. Many of them, of course, went on to their own family, started their career and all that. So I guess as Ethan highlighted earlier as well, in the course of doing our work, I guess there are a couple of things that we may not like as much that we have to endure to get to the outcomes of that we're looking for. Paperwork is only one for me. University do place a lot of emphasis on the documentation, if you like, the procedure recording and things like that. Well, I don't always enjoy that, but the thing is, I do learn, like Peter was saying, that we just have to endure some of those actually to get to the end outcome that we're looking for. I guess in my job, I do have the privilege to work with people from diverse cultural background as well. I don't know. You must have heard. I mean, all of you must have heard that jobs are borderless these days, and all that. Or at least, actually, in your job, you're unlikely to be only dealing with people from your own country. In fact, in my case, because we've been recruiting students from about 40 countries, and we have partners in almost every of those countries. So I have a privilege of working with people from those diverse backgrounds. So I guess that is also one component that I really enjoy in the work that I do at the moment.
So I note. So from what you've just shared, it looks like there's a lot of relationships that you have to deal with in your line of work. So So how do you how do you manage the difficult ones?
Well, quite. In fact, a lot of I guess communication and liaison, and I guess the ability to think from the other's perspective, the other person's perspective, I guess help a lot as well. And what I find is over the longer run, it is also about building a trusting relationship, with the other parties involved. Bear in mind, in fact, when we talk about engagement, we tend to focus on stakeholder outside the organization. In fact, your colleagues are equally crucial, I guess, in many projects that we do. So there's that relationship building aspect, communication. I guess all that comes into there as well. We want hope that sort of answer your question.
Yeah, it does. It clarifies. Yeah, and okay, I want to go on to our. I've got two questions actually before we come to the end of our session. So one, I'll continue with you, James. I mean, you talk about you have to deal with people from different cultural backgrounds, and the relationships for your line of work, looking into funding and sponsorships. So has there ever been a situation where your faith has been challenged, uh, when you're dealing with people, dealing with the companies?
Well, probably not to that extent. But in a lot of the negotiation, there's definitely a lot of the a fair bit of conflict sometimes that you have to deal with, and at the end of the day, if you compromise, I guess, the understanding of the other party's stance, and the compromise that you are able to reach, and the consensus that you are able to provide mutually, I suppose, but not to the extent that I suppose it will challenge my fair touch, quite privileged, I guess, because I suppose that I don't have to encounter too many of such situations.
Yeah. So everything is you're able to follow, I mean, guided by laws, and the way that you do things, there are proper ways, the proper channels that you do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then I think this would be the million-dollar question that the young people want to know: how lucrative is a position like yours? If they were to be in this line, in this field,
Right.
financially, yeah.
Okay. In fact, the university is quite open as well with our remuneration package. In fact, at one stage, our pay range is all advertised on our website. Yeah. Okay. I can be quite open to you. I mean, the director's range of position with the university, if the memory serves me right, I think it ranges from about 18 to a max of 25K. Theng help me there if I got the figures wrong. I think that is roughly the pay grade for this level of position at our university.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the
For
business.
academic staff as well, I think it's around from the, I mean, as our James say, to our university, everybody can roughly guess how much I earn because it looks at the level that you are in and so on. We have this advertised in our internal portal as well. So I mean, averagely, not just our university, if we're talking about academic staff in the Malaysia's private university, because public, I do not have exact information, but for private, okay, for lecturer is around 4,005, okay, 4,005, around that, if you have a PhD, because certain university pay a lower beginning rate, so it's around that, yeah, okay, and up to a professor, you can have up to maybe 18 to 20 over thousand. Yeah, I mean, this is the situation in all. You can actually Google for this kind of information online as well. Yeah, how much is the income of becoming a lecturer? Yeah,
the salary range lah. So what about any perks? And I mean, being in the university, is there anything additional that that will make the position more attractive? I'm just thinking, you know.
James, do we have any?
Yes. Actually, probably the education benefit is we still have that as an education benefit for our children. Generally, our children, if they want to come to university to simply to study, in fact, their fees are waived. So I guess that's one major benefit that our university offers. But this varies actually between different institutions, or I must highlight. And generally, the university does provide quite comprehensive insurance coverage, medical, personal accidents, and such. So I guess there's the other perks that we can highlight, I suppose.
Yeah, so that's good to know lah. Okay, and okay, so Theng, I'm coming to you now. For the other question is that I understand you shared that you came to know Christ in your first year of your university, your undergraduate, right? So how has your faith helped you in your studies, or in and has your faith ever been challenged in your line of work in any way?
Well, I think challenges appear in any career, any profession. In the academic line, okay, I think we are just like any other job. We want to be high achievers. Okay, when you want to be high achievers, meaning to say you have to invest more time. When you invest more time in your career, meaning to say that because 24 hours is fair for everybody, so you have lesser time for others. So this is always a challenge to juggle. So in my principle is, as I said, I've been working in about 17 years, okay? And I don't aim for, let's say, the 2 years promotion or maybe 1 year next level promotion. You can see my cycle I explain to you every 5 years, okay? Right. So I ask God, I arrange. So every 5 years, I do a slow step, because I do not want to, if I invest too much, not to say invest too much, I overwhelm with my work, then I'll have no time for my family, no time for my service to God. Yeah. So some people may see that I'm slow. I'm not high achiever, you see, like, because you only take 5 years to achieve one level and so on. But I think I decided that way, and by God's grace, of course, this is my plan, and it was materialized, or it was realized by God's grace. I'll believe that. Yeah. And one thing that, of course, along this journey, when you slow down, when you don't try to be high achiever, sometimes you may feel intimidated by people who keep going up, and then you are still there. You see, so I think Psalm chapter 3 verse 3 is always since I started this career, is always my guidance. But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head high. So I believe that even though I'm slow, but one day God will lift my head up. So that's how I cross slowly. So that's throughout the journey.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think you've kept a very good balance, so that and at the end of the day, you achieve everything what somebody else would have also achieved, except faster. Would that be correct?
Yeah. So that's why I say you have to balance. Yeah. If you want to have balanced life, you have to sacrifice, and you have to bear that kind of maybe embarrassment, or maybe sometimes you feel ashamed or whatever. You just have to bear with it as you go slower than others.
Yeah, Yeah, but the Lord is there to, to be there as your shield, as exactly what you said, and He's the lifter of your head. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Abiting. Chini, what about you? In your line of work, has your faith? I know that you've had wonderful testimonies you've shared with our cell group, but just briefly, is there anything that that has actually that the Lord has worked in your life, in your work, and for you to get where you are right now, and the challenges that helped you, your faith has helped you overcome? Is there anything that you think you could share with us?
Um, Comparatively to both of the panel, I'm the youngest, and my faith also the youngest. I got to know Christ 3 years ago. So like, yeah, across my career, this is my 10th year being in education and as a teacher. For past 7 years, I don't know. I mean, like my first 7 years in my career, I'm not Christ believer, so I rely on a lot on my own strength, especially working with children and whatnot. It exhausts me a lot in terms of working with children, working with people. It exhausts me a lot. So since I believe in Christ, I always pray to God that and the Holy Spirit will guide me. And I always start my days, I commit my day to you. So like Holy Spirit will guide me through the day, whatever I face, or uh, whatever what I speak. I pray to God that Holy Spirit will guide me to speak the right thing to my children, to people as well. And recently I picked up the habit to read Bible verse every day, like one proverb chapter per day since New Year. And it has helped me, like really, it has helped me to guide my thinking, my thoughts. And because proverb is more on like the teaching of the wise word, the advice, always said, oh, listen to me, my son. The advice to the son, and please listen to the advice of father and also the mother. So like it has guided me in everything that I've been doing. Especially I see that my life has been changing for past 1 month, that when I read one verse, I'm like, this is happening in my workplace or in my life, that it reminded me what to do. Yeah, especially dealing with people, because when you come to international teaching, we will face different challenges. Like right now in Thailand, I don't have my family members with me, so I rely a lot on God's strength. And also you face different people, really different thinking, and that's where you need to really come back to the book, come back to proverb. I really come back to proverb to guide me through whether this person says the right thing or not. Do I need to do this way? So like for example, getting scholarship, also something that somebody advised to me, but I will come back to the book and think, is it the right way to do that? Like I'm right now working, and I am able, so shall I get scholarship, or can God provide me to further my career, further my education? So that's something that I need to debate, and I come back to the book to guide me through what is a wise thing to do. So yeah, so like God has really very faithful throughout my journey for past 3 years, and forevermore, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. Thanks, Chini. Okay, so we've come to the end of our session. I just want to ask from the young people, do you have any questions that you want to ask to the panelists? RJ, do you have anything to ask? Okay, okay. So looks like we don't have any questions. Okay, so I want to thank Theng. I want to thank James. I want to thank Chini. I think you've actually helped me understand so much more, especially the workings in an international school, and also in a university setting. And so I want to close the session with a prayer. And then we can say goodnight. Um, Father, we want to thank you for this wonderful time that we've had. We want to that we've had so much of information. I pray, Lord, that as we process through the information, you touch those hearts, Lord, who are interested to pursue into this field. And Lord, I want to pray a blessing over Bething, James, and Chini as they carry on in their work, as they deal with people. I pray, Lord, for your abundance to be upon them. I pray for wisdom and discernment. I pray for your favor, Lord, so that, Lord, they will do the best, and also, Lord, all of this, Lord, will glorify you and also will point people back to you, Lord. So we want to thank you, Lord, for this wonderful session. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay.